Hi there, Bradley from B-Rad TV here, still on my mission in raining New York. I'm now by the stairs near the fountain. In Central Park. You might recognise this from John Wick, where they assassinate the lady. There's been loads of films, but for me, in my mind, I'm thinking John Wick, because it's the latest one I've watched. I promise I do more than watch movies with my life. So, in this video, I want to talk about how Eastern philosophy saved my life. Now, when the stuff hit the fan and I was having my problems, I really had to break down myself, everything, see what was wrong, see what was right maybe, try and fix things, see what I wanted to do with my life and figure myself out. That meant I was looking for everything, clinging on to ideas, trying to learn, listen, take stuff in. At the same time, I was super stubborn and arrogant and still miserable and trying to figure things out. So it was a real mad time to be sort of figuring myself and life out. And obviously, I looked at different religions, I spoke to people from different religions, went to literally different temples, things like that. Actually spoke to people. I had fortune tellers, I had tarot card readings, I did everything and anything. I started reading for the first time in my life as well. I'd read before, obviously, but not, actually, more than self-help, religion and philosophy stuff. You can watch the video I did ages ago on religion. I'm pretty sure all that stuff still applies. I don't really like rules, to be honest. I like being a free, expanding, evolving consciousness, and for me, religion was just rules, rules, rules. Philosophy as well. Lots of it seemed like, it's just what I say, people, different authors, different philosophers, it's their point of view, and that's pretty much is it. And then somehow, I don't know how, I stumbled across sort of Eastern philosophy, and not in a religious sense, like philosophy and ways of thinking and ideas that still let me be free to be me, but sort of really helped me. I read a book by Bruce Lee, a collection of his letters and things, and the whole sort of Eastern way of thinking about everything sort of totally caught me off guard. It was so different to everything I'd grown up with, and I was, in my mind, it really was, Western civilization. I don't know if this is, I'm right, you're wrong, I'm winning, you're losing, I've got more, I'm better, I'm bigger, I'm better, I'm stronger, I'm winning, I'm in the lead. It was that sort of mentality. I was completely rigid, immovable, had my opinions, that's how I'd gone through life pretty much. And then when I hit the cataclysm and the rapture and it all went wrong and there was none of that left, I was completely broken, there was nothing left to be rigid or firm. And at that point, when my brain was completely shot, completely empty, it's like these brilliant ideas could come in. And you'll probably tell, the very first video I did years ago now was yin yang, very obviously Eastern idea. Now what it is, the main thing for me was that it's not right, wrong, this way, that way. Everything is all connected, it's all one thing. You can't have one without the other. We're all just linked together. Now, so the idea of yin-yang and this Eastern philosophy thing I'm talking about, a good way to describe it, now correct me if I'm wrong, I don't speak Chinese. This was from the book that I was reading, so the word for trade in Chinese is made up of the words buy and sell. So you can't have the word trade without buying and selling. And that's sort of like, there's not two separate things, it's just one thing, and that applies to everything in life. God, I'm having trouble putting this into words. This is good though, non-scripted, I'm thinking through this and how it might help me. And when you realise it's not these two sides, it's just this one side. There's just this one thing, and that is your consciousness and us in this planet. They say the bamboo is so strong because it blows in the wind and you're flexible, whereas the rigid tree breaks and snaps in the wind. So be fluid. And it is the Bruce Lee quote, be water, my friend. Water can flow or it can crash. Be water, my friend. And as soon as I started applying this fluid, water, bamboo living and understanding that the good, the bad, everything is all connected and there is just being at peace with yourself, as soon as I let go of that ego and that winning and that being better mentality, my life just improved a millionfold beyond anything I could have ever felt. And the good thing is, these are just ideas, they're not rules, they're just sort of things that have just helped me. And it comes down to the Tao, D-A-O. You can read the Tao Te Ching, the Tao Te Ching, however you want to say it. I'm pretty sure it's pronounced Tao, that's how it's meant to be, but in English it's written T-A-O. Now, the good thing about that, this is so funny, it's almost sort of I'm going to get torn apart now maybe, a cop-out philosophy, but it's so true and meaningful at the same time. The way, I'll say the Tao, the way called the way is not the way. So if you're trying to label something and say that is how you do it, it instantly becomes not the way and not the way to do it. Which to me means go with the world, go with nature, go with your evolving consciousness. And then with that you have your morals to live by, where treat people how you want to be treated, and the goodness you put out will come back to you. And that's just my personal how I live, in line with this sort of Eastern mindset. It's not even philosophy, it's just sort of how after listening to these people, even speaking to them, reading so much, two totally different mindsets. And it's amazing how living and sort of adapting and changing and still living and working and thriving and enjoying this Western world. I wouldn't want to live anywhere else than England, apart from maybe New York now. I'd love to live in New York. I'm not going to be moving to China anytime soon. But applying those philosophies and those mindsets have really helped me. Letting go of ego and being sort of free and fluid is just empowering in the most phenomenal way. And now I did a video a little while ago, living without ego. I think it's impossible, if you're human, to live without ego. I really think it is impossible. I say I'm not bothered so much about what people think, but say tomorrow it was outed in the paper, Bradley, B-Rad TV, he burns down orphanages and he kills OAPs, I don't know, he burns down schools, anything like that. Yes, it would affect me. Obviously, I'd be worried about that, and I wouldn't want people to think that. It's not true, obviously, but I would care what people think. So anyone who says they live without ego, they're really lying, or they're on one, okay? Because you all would be concerned about how people see you in that light. What I mean by living without ego is doing what you want, to be at peace with yourself, with no regard at all for what anyone else will think of that. So long as you're not hurting anyone, you do what you want and do what you need to be at peace with yourself and live the best life you can. That's what living without ego means to me. And the great thing, going back to the Tao Te Ching, it's this lovely little poetry book. It's very short. I read, say, a little bit each day, think about it, and then read a next little bit the next day and think about it. And even now, I haven't read it in months, or gone through it in months, but it's just nice. I think back to when I did first sort of go through it, and it was uplifting, it was enlightening, it really is. There is just the world and you, and being natural, going with your gut. And it's so good, because even if I turn around now tomorrow and say, oh, the Tao Te Ching was stupid and I don't like that anymore, it would still apply, and there's nothing I could do, because it's just the way, that is it, and just the path. And if you decide to label it and call it something, it suddenly becomes not the real thing. God, I love these crackerjack thoughts, they're great, aren't they? It's all over the place. So the main broad strokes of how Eastern philosophy helped me so much, emptying my mind and being open to new ideas, not being so rigid and solid and firm. Even in these thoughts and ideas, I'm still not rigid and solid in them. I'm still fluid and open to more and progressive and evolving in this world. So being open to ideas, being fluid and going with people and listening and debating and taking on board and finding out what I can do to make things better and feel better. That has been incredible. And learning that there's not two sides, there is only one side, and it is life, and it is your consciousness, it is my consciousness. life is not bliss. It is happiness, it is sadness, it is ups and downs all around, brightly coloured, Bill Hicks quote there, the roller coaster ride that is life. It encompasses everything, and you can say not enjoy things and be happy all the time, but if you are at peace with yourself, if you can find that, everything becomes sweeter and better and so much easier. And part of me thought for this video, I was actually going to get like a reading list, break everything down, literally get a flip chart and write everything down, exactly how I found things, when I found things, do a proper hour-and-a-half long documentary of how Eastern philosophy saved my life. But like I said, explaining things and labeling things, it would change it. Especially for you, if you want to sort of explore Eastern philosophy and thinking. So I think just this unscripted, me rambling, off-the-cuff video, especially just while I'm in New York and it's chucking it down with rain, just to spark you off and kick you off on your journey if you're thinking about it. So if you are curious and you are fluid and open-minded, I say, if you are looking for change, I sound like I'm promoting it now, oh dear. I guess I am. It's worked for me. Why would I not want to share something that I've found so incredibly helpful and uplifting and non-restrictive? It's fantastic. I drink, I party, I love my movies, I work out, I like smart clothes, I like whiskey, but I am at peace. I'm happier than I've ever been. I wake up happier more often than I do. My life is slowly coming into balance and I'm finding myself. And it was these building blocks of like dabbling with this idea of philosophy and just curiosity. And that's all it is. It's just having an enthusiastic, curious mind and finding some sort of connection with those writings and those ideas. And I don't think that you go looking for that sort of thing if you are happy. If you've got a job and a family and you've got a routine and you're all happy and content, you don't suddenly wake up one morning and think, oh, I'm going to go to Nepal or something. So I didn't go to Nepal, but I actually found a monastery and I was actually going to go there. I was going to get a ticket and I was going to live in a monastery. That was actually when I was in, it was either central London or I was actually going to go to Kathmandu, proper Doctor Strange style, go to Kathmandu and live in a monastery in the mountains. And that was, I could find the address to even tell you what one I was going to go to. And even now that plays in mind, I want to go there. It got to that point where I was going to do that, and that would have been an incredible adventure. So I was very serious about it, and I was very committed and wanted to do it. But then my life took another turn, which I don't regret at all. And I kept using those ideas, and I still explored them, even when I moved to central London. I would say, be careful what you read, what you listen to. Even me, I'm just a guy. Be very careful who and what you listen to, especially on the internet, where there's anything there and people without credentials, namely me, can ramble and you can believe them and put your faith in them, so do be very careful. But for me, growing up in, say, Western society and capitalism, which, say, I love it here. I want to live in New York now, I love it here. But exploring Eastern philosophy and just learning and living with some of those principles from someone who is so rigid and set in their ways, it helped me incredibly. Now, if you know more, but even that doesn't apply in the Tao Te Ching. You can't know more because this is the way and I'm living it. This is sort of like the unfathomable, impossible answer to any question on religion and philosophy. It's brilliant. just being at peace and living with the way that is you and life and consciousness. Beautiful, beautiful living poetry that we all are. But if you have any ideas, any thoughts, please put them in the comments section, because this is something that I'm always intrigued and want to read and learn and live and find out more. And I've been so busy lately. I've been so busy because I have been just living. I've been living the way. So guys, if you are curious, explore some Eastern philosophy. If you want to, have some fun with it. Buy a book by Bruce Lee. Read some of his letters. Buy some other stuff as well, not just Bruce Lee. Silly Bradley. Okay, take it easy, guys. Look after yourselves. Be very curious and enthusiastic. And B-Rad.